From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. The Great Gatsby is classic American literature. F. Scott Fitzgerald's story of wealth and longing is read in high school classrooms and has generally been celebrated ever since it was published in 1925. But a Colorado author's latest book asks you to consider the story from a different perspective. Writer Allison Reedy recently published Mrs. Wilson's Affair. It's told from the vantage point of Myrtle Wilson, a tragic character who appears in just a handful of scenes in The Great Gatsby, and whom Fitzgerald presents in an unflattering light. Allison says she loves the original Gatsby, but thought Myrtle deserved more of a backstory and a little more empathy. Allison, who lives in Broomfield and also serves as restaurant critic for 5280 magazine, joined me in November to talk about her new book. We're listening back to that conversation today. I should note that you are speaking to me from your home, and there is a Great Gatsby poster on the wall behind you, just to establish your credibility here.
There is, and if I were to turn the zoom a little bit, you would see that I have 52 copies of the book to my left. Yeah.
Why do you have so many copies?
I have a little bit of obsessive compulsive, I think, tendencies. I think I just started buying them because I really enjoyed the book in high school and college. And then I would see these beautiful different editions. I mean, there must be thousands of editions of this book, and I would just pick them up. And whenever I'm at a used bookstore now, I look for a Gatsby that I don't have.
Let's start here with Myrtle Wilson, who is a secondary character in the original novel, but she is the main figure in your retelling of the story. What about the character of Myrtle Wilson fascinates you?
I've read The Great Gatsby many, many times since high school. And I think somewhere along the line, I just thought, wow, Fitzgerald was so kind to everyone else, developed these characters like, Nick and Daisy, Gatsby, of course. And I just thought Myrtle, she got the short stick. I mean, if you know how it ends, she definitely got the short stick, literally and figuratively. Yes. But he just made her out to be this money-grubbing, social climbing adulteress. And I felt like, what got her there? Like, what can I give her a little bit of a backstory? Can I build out her character to see, what would get her on that train with Tom in the first place?
So what details about the character of Myrtle did you want to dig into that F. Scott Fitzgerald doesn't touch on?
Well, there's got to be a reason that Tom likes this lower class woman. And so that was my first thing is, okay, she's smart. She's interested in other people. I really wanted to highlight that she's clever and she's more than just how Fitzgerald presented her, and that maybe she sees Tom in a different way than the people of his social rankings see him.
You said you have read The Great Gatsby so many times. I'm curious how the book changes for you, kind of between the time that you're in high school and now that you are a grown-up with a family and a writing career.
I think when we first read Gatsby in high school, because we're so young, our lives are just laid out before us, and it's about potential. And we're really seeing just, what can our lives become? And we're looking at the character of Jay Gatsby and how he really shaped his own life. When he lost Daisy because of his social status, he went out and he made all this money, and he turned into the Gatsby of the glitz and the glam of the parties. And I think that also appeals to us when we're young. Is all that glamour. And then I think somewhere along the line, the older we get, we read it as a tragedy. I don't want to ruin it too much if people haven't read it in a while or haven't read it at all, but the book does not end well for many characters. And we really see that maybe you can't just, go out there and make a bunch of money and that solves all of our problems.
I want to mention the book James by Percival Everett. That book recently had a moment and won awards. This is a book that reimagines the adventures of Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of Huck's enslaved companion, Jim. Why do you think readers have an interest in revisiting a classic novel but approaching it from someone else's perspective?
I think it's especially popular right now with maybe the more marginalized characters. Like in that book, it's the Black slave that we're hearing from. In my book, it's a woman. And the authors of that time, they were white males and they were products of their era. But yeah, so there are a lot of people interested in taking these great stories that we definitely admire, but just telling them, throwing in our viewpoint. Like for Myrtle, she's not the rich character like the others are. She is from the lower classes. And I could not relate to like Gatsby throwing these $1 million parties every weekend and providing champagne for 1,000 people and, the bands. But I could kind of relate to this lower class character who's just trying to get above her station. She's just trying to get out of this life that didn't quite work out the way that she had hoped it would. But she doesn't have the same opportunities that Gatsby had as a white male at the time.
You've also written cookbooks as well as restaurant reviews for 5280 magazine. I think of food writing as requiring lots of colorful vocabulary to capture, the flavors and the smells. How does being a food writer make you a better novelist?
I think a good sentence is a good sentence. And it really doesn't matter if you're talking about literature or tacos or politics. Just trying to make something interesting to people and write with that cadence and just have that rhythm, I think. Also, I worked for the Denver Post for a while as their food writer, and just write quickly. You got to get these stories done. You got to get these stories out. And that definitely helps with writing a novel.
Well, okay, so which Colorado restaurant would you send Myrtle Wilson to for a meal?
Well, I want to give her the best. So I'm going to send Myrtle right now to any of Johnny Curiel's restaurants, like Alma Fondafina, Mezcaleria Alma, Alteño, and Cherry Creek. Those are all among my favorites right now.
Those are all in Denver?
Yes.
Okay. There were news reports about a Gatsby-themed Halloween party hosted by President Trump over Halloween weekend, which, depending on where you sit, was either a fun costume party or, maybe kind of an odd gesture at a moment when food assistance is on the line for millions of people. Where do you think Myrtle Wilson would come down, or on that party?
I think Myrtle would have wanted to have been there, because that is, she wants to be a part of that group. But I think she also has great sympathy for the vast majority of people who are not a part of that group. And so I think she's kind of in between. She has a little envy that, she wants to be there, but she knows deep down she never will. And so she's like, gosh, can't enough be enough for us? Like, you have so much. Why can't we all just have a little bit more so that everybody has enough?
Allison Reedy is the author of the book Mrs. Wilson's Affair, which offers a fresh take on one of the characters from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Allison, who is also a restaurant writer for 5280 magazine, spoke with me last November. We'll put a link to an excerpt from the book in our show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.